Today in the garage I got a 17 Honda Accord. It's here because it needs an oil change as well as the B pillar garnishes. So basically you can see this one right here has been torn off. Lady was at work and she said someone tried to break into her car, and you could see the damage they did, but we still have to replace this piece. And I told the owner, hey, if we're gonna go ahead and replace this one, once you put the brand new part next to the old one, it's going to make this one look like crap. So I told her these two pieces are pretty cheap, so let's just go ahead and replace both of them at the same time. So that's what we got right here, two pieces. So I got the first garnish installed, and that's what the new one looks like right next to an old one. So there we have it. Both of the new panels are installed. Looks better than it did before. So that's that. Let me get the oil change and we'll be done with this thing. I got a 2013 Nissan Pathfinder here. It just had a transmission put in it maybe like a week or two ago, something like that. But it's here because now it has a coolant leak. So that's what we're gonna try to find out. Where is it leaking from? What's going on? And I could definitely smell coolant. So this sucks dealing with the V6. It's crammed in here. It's a tight spot. The owner did say that they could actually smell the coolant burning, and while they're driving, there's smoke coming from underneath the hood. See that spot right there? That is coolant dripping, and it's coming from like the rear of the engine. So of course it is right above the exhaust manifold, and that's why they're seeing smoke come from underneath the hood, as well as being able to smell it inside the cabin. So I want to go ahead and pressurize the system. I don't know how much coolant is left in it, but we'll try to pressurize it. All right, so the radiator was completely filled with antifreeze. And guys, as soon as I got it up to like 10 PSI, this thing just started puking its guts out. It's coming from up front, actually. I heard it start hissing. Oh, there it goes. Look at this. Should I get this to focus for you guys? Wow, look at that. There's your problem, lady. Thing needs a radiator. Now, why are they seeing little coolant drips leaking onto the exhaust manifold? I don't know. I'm sure it's a different leak, but this is definitely a problem right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and start to pressurize it one more time. Oh, I can't even pressurize it. It's just losing coolant that fast. Now keep in mind, the car was in an accident. I don't know how long ago, but look at the front bumper. Okay. And the woman even said that the hood doesn't really want to latch all the time. It's kind of difficult to get it to latch down. So I don't know how long this accident happened, but let's get this panel off of here so we can have a closer look. I got that panel off. As you can see, let's go ahead and pressurize the system one more time. Oh, wow. Look at that. That's crazy. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the panels back on it, park this turd outside because there's nothing I could do now without a new radiator. I haven't even talked to the owner yet, so I don't have the green light to do anything. And as far as that, what seems to be a drip coming from behind the engine, not concerned with that right now because we have a massive leak here. And until this gets fixed, really, you can't really mess with any of that stuff back there, if that makes any sense. Sure, you could argue, why don't you find all the leaks before you order parts so you could have everything done at the same time? Well, the thing is, guys, it's not like I have a shop here where I could put a car in a lift and get underneath it easily and start inspecting things. It sucks to get underneath cars and start looking for crap like this. So when you're in the shop and you got a lift, yeah, by all means, do whatever you want to try to get as much work as you want. But me, I like to start where I see the obvious problems. You got to put your socks on before you put your shoes on. Something else I just noticed from the accident is, look at this brace right here. It's actually pushed into the condenser and it's touching it. Now, I don't know if the condenser is ruptured. I don't know if the AC on this thing still works, but you're clearly seeing where that thing is touching down there. So I'm going to leave that alone. But I'm going to go ahead, put these two little panels back on here, park this thing outside. I'll give the owner a call. And guys, I don't know if I'm gonna get this job. This looks like it could be a expensive job with parts and labor. I was looking up some like quotes online, and yeah, it's not cheap. So I've never changed a radiator on one of these Pathfinders, but if the price is a reflection of that, then it looks like it's going to be a nightmare. One more thing, this is why it's so important to have the correct tools to be able to pressure test the system, because based off of what the owner said and based off of that little spot I could see underneath the car, I would have been chasing my tail underneath the truck looking for a coolant leak behind the engine, not knowing that the massive leak was right here in front. So just an update on this car, the owner of this vehicle, it's a first-time customer, so I've never worked for her before. So they called me up saying the car has a small coolant drip coming from behind the engine. They wanted to find a leak and potentially get it fixed. Keep in mind there was no Sorry about that. Keep in mind there was no overheating issues or anything like that. So they brought the car over, and you could imagine the confusion that was on their face when I told them, hey, your radiator's busted pretty bad and it's leaking severely. Yeah, you could kind of see how they started looking at me funny, especially since it's the first time they ever brought their car to me. And I'm sure they were thinking, hey, did this guy potentially sabotage our car? And anyone who knows me, I don't do stuff like that. I'm a pretty honest guy, and I would never do that to someone's car. And it's part of the reason why I make these videos, to show people what I find. And anyone who sees this failure on this radiator can see clear as day that this had nothing to do with anyone. It's just a failure of an old worn out part, and it just cracked. But I could hear it in their voice and the way they were talking that they were kind of suspicious of whether I did something to their car. So needless to say, they did not bring back the car. I did not get this repair, and I haven't heard back from the customer ever since. I've got a 2004 Toyota Avalon, got dropped off a few days ago because the owner's having a hard time putting fuel in this thing. The pump keeps stopping, and it takes like 15 minutes to put fuel in this thing, and it's super annoying, especially in winter. Nobody wants to be standing out there all day in the middle of winter. So, you know, what causes something like this? It's the charcoal canister going bad. You can see the old part right there. I just finished changing it out today. And what causes this to fail? One of the things is overfilling. So the first thing I asked the owner is, do you overfill your gas tank? Like once the pump stops, you keep trying to add fuel? And he's like, yeah. So he said his OCD kicks in, and it's like if it ends at like $39.10, he has to get to like 40. You get what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter what car it is, any car, don't do that. If you're at the pump and you're filling up and the pump just naturally stops by itself because your tank is full, leave it at that. Stop trying to overfill your tank because it causes problems like this. Fuel gets where it shouldn't be, like in the charcoal canister, and completely ruins it and turns it into an expensive repair. This is hundreds of dollars. You know, that extra $1 of gasoline that you put in the tank isn't gonna get you anywhere significant. Okay, it's just $1 fuel, but in the long run it costs you hundreds of dollars. So just just stop. When pump stops, stop putting fuel. You're good. So this thing weighs like 4 or 5 times what the new part weighs, obviously, because it has all this gasoline inside of it. And you know, I'm not trying to dump gasoline on the floor here, but just to show you guys, you see what I'm talking about? And that's already after a good amount of fuel came out. The second I disconnected this line and this line, so much fuel came out on top of me. Now the owner has about 3/4 of a tank right now, so I'm not going to take it to try to put fuel in it and see if this problem is fixed. It should be fixed. At this point, I'm just going to let him take the car, drive it around, and when it needs to be filled up, we'll find out at that moment on whether the new charcoal canister fixed this problem or not. But I'm pretty confident that his problem should be fixed. All right, so that's going to be it for this one, guys. Just a little short video on don't overfill your gas tank because it leads to expensive repairs. We got this Mitsubishi Eclipse in the garage. Just got dropped off. You can see it's got snow on it. Looks like it's got the race package. It's got the little lip on the bottom. What do they call these? Canards or something like that. It's got the carbon fiber hood. Okay, anyway, just got dropped off because the driver's side window would not go up. Guys, it is about -3 degrees outside right now. And this window won't go up. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and fix this. The owner thought it was a window regulator, so he started taking everything apart on the door. As you can see, he did all of this, and then it got so cold outside he couldn't finish the job. So that's why the car is here, for me to finish the job. The thing is, he said the window went down, it wouldn't go back up, and I told him, are you sure it's a window regulator and it wasn't a switch? He said, I'm not sure. I just started basically shooting the parts cannon at it. So before we go throw a regulator at this thing, we're gonna go ahead and see if this regulator, the one that's on here right now, is still the original one. Let's see if it goes up and down. If we put the power directly to this regulator, if it is, then guys, most likely it's a bad switch, and there's no reason to change out this regulator. Okay, but yeah. So let me go ahead and get started on this. I can't imagine how freezing it gets inside this car while you're driving at -3 outside. Look how big that thing is open. How wide of a gap that is. That's, man, I can't endure that type of pain. Anyways, guys, today is December 24th. That's right, it is Christmas Eve. So Merry Christmas to everyone. I know this video is gonna be released on YouTube pretty late. At any rate, still Merry Christmas. All right, so he's saying the glass won't go up or down, and he said it's hitting something. Obviously the glass is hitting this rail right here with this like crash beam. And the reason for that is because it's missing all the bolts. You could see how that is sticking out right there, right there. And I found all of these just sitting right here in the cup holder. Okay, so clearly he was in here trying to replace this regulator. But what I want to do is let's put some of these bolts back on it just so the glass isn't rubbing against the crash beam. And then we'll try putting power directly to the regulator, see what happens. To me, this looks like someone who doesn't know what they were doing, and they just started taking apart every nut and bolt that they could find, which isn't a big deal. There's nothing wrong with DIY and trying to do stuff yourself, you know what I mean? But you have to keep track of this type of stuff and know what you're taking apart instead of just taking apart every little thing you see. Sorry for the annoying beeping, but I had to connect my power probe and I got it going into the cigarette lighter. You can see the light right there. So I put power directly to the motor itself, and of course all this stuff was unbolted and just dangling, so I had to find the nuts and bolts to bolt up the actual motor itself. But what happens is if I put power, the glass tries to go down, but when I put power to send it back up, it moves up very slowly, if any at all. No matter how much I try to manipulate the glass right here and move it as it's going up, it just doesn't want to go up, guys. So to me, this does seem like a bad window regulator. And I just looked, there's a bag back there and it looks like there's a new regulator inside of it. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and swap them out because I do think that's what's going on here. As you can see, I got the glass out. I had to get this trim up and out of the way, and this glass was a complete nightmare to get out. I want to say it took me a good 45 minutes to get this glass out. It was wedged in there pretty hard, and this is a result of the owner taking things apart in the wrong order, and the glass was actually wedged inside of there, and it just fought me the whole time. So you can see we got some damage going on here on the tint. So I know that's the least of his concerns right now, especially in winter weather like this. You want your windows to just be able to work. But that's unfortunate because, like I said, it was wedged in there so tight that the various angles that I had to try to get this thing out, the inner piece of the door frame was scratching on the tint while I was trying to get this thing out of here. You know, if he can't deal with the scratches, best case scenario is to just like put a slice right here in the tint and then peel this small section off right here. But what a freaking nightmare to get this thing out. And this is why when the customer tries to do things themselves and they actually make the job harder than it has to be. So the glass was actually scratching on this corner right here, and that's what was scratching on the tint. Anyway, let me go ahead and get this regulator out of here now. All right, so I got the glass in the door, as you can see, and it's sitting on top of the regulator where it's supposed to be. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get in, but still way easier than how it came out. And go figure, right? When things go in the correct order, it actually works like it's supposed to. Yeah, he really butchered it up and just made my job way more difficult than it had to be. But all the hard work is done. It's just a matter of putting everything back together, making sure everything works good. I already tested the new regulator. It goes up and down, no issues. Unfortunately, you know, this is the damage on the tint. Hey, at least we're gonna have a working window in this what, like -3, -4 degrees. So I think the window's more important. All right, so I got the door panel on. It's just sitting there loosely only because I want to make sure that the switch works. The switch is plugged in. And this window goes up and down very rough, guys, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. Well, I also noticed that there's a massive gap right here, and then when you get inside the car and you close the door, you could see this whole pillar right here like flex. Basically, this whole door is bent, and I'm pretty sure that's why the first window regulator failed, because the extra stress of the frame being bent and the regulator is forcing that glass up and down. So unless he replaces this door with a door that the frame isn't bent, this regulator is going to fail, because I could already hear it stressing to move that window up and down. And guys, this little project has taken me so long. I don't got the heat in here because the garage isn't insulated, okay? So turning on the heat really does nothing inside of here. Look at the temperature inside the garage. See that? 20 degrees, maybe like 19 inside of here. And I've been in here for hours trying to get this thing done for this guy. So when I tell you I'm done with this car, I really mean I'm done with this car. I'm absolutely freezing, and nothing is worse than trying to piece together a puzzle that someone else took apart. It absolutely sucks. Thankfully, I think I got everything, and everything's where it should be. We don't have any nuts and bolts left over. We only have 2 10 mils and 2 like little screws that go into panels. That's all we have left, and I think they are accounted for because the 2 10 mils are going to go there, and there should be one right there going into the plastic, and right there. So everything's accounted for, guys. I got all his screws. Everything that he took apart is right back where it should be. All right, so I got everything put together. You know what, let me turn off this blower motor. He had this thing on full blast, obviously driving around with the window open. So I got the engine running. I'm gonna talk fast because I don't want to kill myself in the garage. Anyway, got the switch reconnected. Let's go down. And guys, you know what, this thing is working better now that it's all assembled than when like the door panel was off of it. Without the door panel, for some reason the glass was like binding, but I don't know, with the glass in place or with the door panel in place, it seems to be going up and down a lot faster. But at any rate, if you look right here, right at this like pillar, I'm gonna go ahead and open the door. You can already see it flexing. And you got to slam the door pretty hard just to get this thing to latch. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. Anyways, point is, it works. So I guess, I don't know, I'm sure it'll be fine. It seems to be going up decent now that the door is fully assembled. But still, I'm gonna tell the owner, hey man, it's winter, it's super cold. If you absolutely don't have to use your windows, don't. That just pinched my finger. Oh. You know how things hurt even more when you're freezing? Yeah, that's what's going on. Okay. Oh, this is the GT model, guys. Race car. So yeah, let me call the owner. I don't see a panel around here for this, so that's why I haven't installed it, because I don't see one laying around here. All right, so I'm ready to pull this thing out the garage, and I just noticed this thing has blue LEDs throughout the entire car. That's funny. All right, race car. And look at this. I was wondering, what are these panels back here? They're actually fenders. They're like body kit fenders, so they got like the vent right there on the side of the fender. Hopefully you guys can see that slice on the fender. So the owner just bought this car like 3 days ago. You could see the carbon fiber hood, the Pep Boys wheels on it. It looked like somebody sold their project car. That's what this looks like. And it's even got the halo ring headlight. Wait, what is this? No. It's not even a real carbon fiber hood. Fooled me. Anyway, let me get this turd out the garage.